We consolidated ourselves in League One, but then we had this magnificent run in the Carling Cup, which really put Doncaster Rovers on the map nationally. I have a soft spot for the two Manchester clubs living in Knutsford, and I often did a bit of sponsorship with United and City through Transform when I was banned from Doncaster by Ken Richardson. So I used to watch City and United, and I have a bit of a soft spot. So to draw City was a great thing. John Wardle was the chairman, and of course I knew John very well. He just lives down the road from me, and one or two of the directors I knew, and we had, you know, we had a lot of fun before the game. But I don't know, I just fancied us to do well.
5 minutes into extra time. Richard Dunn pushing forward in a fairly unfamiliar position for him. He might go all the way. Oh, he's blocked off there, and the referee has pointed to the spot, and it's a penalty to Manchester City. It's Phil Maguire who's brought him down. He protests his innocence, but Graham Salisbury had no hesitation whatsoever. Richard Dunn charging through like a man possessed, tried a little flick, and Maguire has blocked him, and the referee says penalty to Manchester City. A chance for them to take the lead. It's Darius Vassell. He faces Andy Warrington. Vassell as emphatic as you like, and Manchester City confirm their superiority in league status. They lead by a goal to nil. Well, there's fairly muted celebrations from the Manchester City supporters. Darius Vassell might have been thinking he might have to take a penalty later on. Might not go to that now. Time ticking away for Doncaster Rovers, but still time, and they've got a penalty. It's another penalty, and Doncaster Rovers have got a penalty which could give them the chance to go to penalties. It's Sylvain Distin who's conceded it. He's climbed all over Paul Heffernan in trying to get the ball out of the penalty area. Well, it's a fairly soft penalty, but Doncaster Rovers aren't complaining. And it's Michael McIndoe against the England goalkeeper David James. He goes the wrong way. It's 1-1 at Bellevue, and after a penalty apiece, I think we're now surely heading for a penalty shootout. Doncaster 1, Manchester City 1, with 90 seconds to go. Well, Darius Vassell was pretty emphatic with his penalty. It was a little bit cooler from McIndoe. James guessed totally wrong, and it's 1-1. Well, Dave Penny has no doubt had the players practicing penalties, and it's paid off.
Andy Warrington had the game of his life and then broke his leg in injury time. And eventually it finished, I think, 1-1, and then went to penalties. And Jan Butts had to come on for his debut because Andy had broken his leg. And Jan Butts made the most incredible penalty saves, and we won the penalty shootout, I think something like 3-0, and City were out.
Michael McIndoe forced the penalty shootout with his late equaliser from the spot. Can he beat David James again? Emphatically again. Once more, David James goes the wrong way. Michael McIndoe went the same way. City looking quite nervous, actually. Darius Vassell. Oh, the woodwork comes to Donny's rescue. Scored in extra time, but not in the shootout. James Coppinger. Doncaster leading 1-0 and 2-0. Well, it looks like Doncaster have been doing some extra training with penalties. Stuart Pearce is looking very worried. Antoine Sibieski. Great save, brilliant save by the stand-in keeper. Well, now Doncaster start to believe they lead 2-0. He looks relaxed. Paul Heffernan. It's casual, it's the same result. Doncaster lead by 3 penalties to 0. Well, Dave Penny's doing the maths, and he knows that Manchester City are on the verge of heading out. Richard Dunn has to score, has to, and doesn't. It's tipped onto the woodwork by Butts, and Doncaster Rovers are through to the 3rd round of the League Cup. Stuart Pearce had come here with Manchester City saying they were going to field a strong team, they wanted to win the competition. They've not made it beyond round 2. Doncaster Rovers head into the 3rd round of the League Cup. Well, what a debut, what a night. Coming off the bench it has been for Jan Butts. 2 crucial penalty saves, having come on to replace the injured Andy Warrington. Not too many people might have heard of him before tonight, but he's going to be grabbing all the headlines from this one. Another big upset in the history of the League Cup. The Great Dane is the hero for Doncaster Rovers, and to coin a phrase from a famous Scandinavian commentator, Francis Lee, Bernard Manning, Noel and Liam Gallagher, your boys have taken a hell of a beating. City are out, Doncaster are through.
And my daughter said she was watching something with Oasis, you know, because they're big City fans, and apparently on the documentary about Oasis, this text came through to, I think, Liam, who said, "We've lost to Doncaster Rovers in the Carling Cup, I can't believe it." But of course things got better, because we then drew Aston Villa at home in the next round, and Doug Ellis is a friend of mine. He came and he said, "You're not going to win today, we've got the full side out." And I thought, well, we'll see.
Certainly been a lively opening 20 minutes or so, chances at both ends. Doncaster's a shout for a penalty there, and the linesman has indicated that it is, and the referee points to the spot. Mike Dean wanted some help, but Liam Ridgewell put his arm up, the ball has hit him, and the referee has ruled that it was intentional. Well, it was a nice little cross in, it's then come off the knee of the Doncaster player just the other side of Liam Ridgewell. Well, Gavin McCann is protesting for all his worth, but Mike Dean is not going to change his mind. Michael McIndoe, he's got to be concentrating here, doesn't want to be put off by any of the arguments at all. Scored 3 goals already so far in the competition, plus the penalty in the shootout that put out Manchester City. Well, he faces Thomas Sorensen. Oh, he sent David James the wrong way with both penalties. He went low to the keeper's right. What's he going to do this time? He's gone the other way, and Thomas Sorensen had clearly been watching the videos, but Michael McIndoe has changed direction, but the direction for Doncaster Rovers is the same. They're in front. It's Doncaster Rovers 1, Aston Villa 0. Well, Doncaster will start to believe that this could be another Manchester City all over again. Well, there's the flick up onto the arm of Liam Ridgewell. His arm was out. He complained, but he can have no real complaints. And another emphatic penalty by Michael McIndoe.
Doug Ellis said to me, it was 1-0 at half-time, he said, "Your boys won't keep this up, we're going to come strong in the second half." I said, "You know, you're not, because our boys get stronger in the second half," and they did.
Sean Thornton with the free kick. Villa are able to deal with that one pretty comfortably though, but it's come straight forward once again though. That's Lewis Guy with a flick. Here's Heffernan! It's 2-0 to Doncaster Rovers. Fantasy football at Bellevue. It's Paul Heffernan who slid it past Thomas Sorensen. Doncaster Rovers 2, Aston Villa 0. Well, it could be the second Premier League club in a matter of weeks to fall foul of Doncaster on this ground. Free kick was cleared away comfortably enough and just swung back into the mix. But look at that little flick from Lewis Guy. Heffernan 1 touch to control, 2 to finish, and Doncaster Rovers lead by 2 goals to 0, and Aston Villa just don't know what's hit them. Well, Thomas Sorensen got down pretty late to try to get to that. He was always a long way away from it. Well, Aston Villa, they've been trying to get back into this game, but Doncaster Rovers, they're looking for a third. There's Thornton. Oh, my word! What an absolute stunner by the man who came from Sunderland in the summer for a club record £175,000. Sean Thornton puts the icing on what is a very, very sweet cake for Doncaster Rovers. It's Doncaster 3, Aston Villa 0. McIndoe from the penalty spot in the first half, Heffernan with the second early in this second half, and now with just over 10 minutes to go, Sean Thornton with the goal of the game. He looked up, he saw he had the space. There might have been a little bit of a deflection, there was indeed, off Liam Ridgewell. That's only helped it's on its way though, because I think that was going to go in anyway. Well, it's been a nightmare of an evening for Liam Ridgewell. He gave away the penalty early on in the game. He's deflected this one in from Sean Thornton, but take nothing away from the Rovers man. That is pure class. All eyes on the referee as he blows up, and Mike Dean signifies that Doncaster Rovers are through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup. Well, Dave Penny looks very relaxed. He looks as if he's been expecting this all evening. A handshake with his opposite number, David O'Leary, and the Donny fans come streaming onto the pitch to hail their heroes. Don't think John Ryan can really quite believe what he's seen here. Manchester City a few weeks ago, and now Aston Villa have been put to the sword by Doncaster Rovers. Doncaster through to the quarter-finals of the Cup. Doncaster Rovers 3, Aston Villa 0, a night no one who's been here will ever forget.
Don't forget, we had some good players that are still with us today. Paul Heffernan, Lewis Guy, James Coppinger. There was the makings of an extremely good side. And to beat Aston Villa 3-0, and quite deservedly 3-0, a Premiership team, just showed the potential of the team, the club. And I think it showed more to the people of Doncaster that, hey, Doncaster Rovers have arrived. They've just stuffed Aston Villa 3-0.
It's another cracking atmosphere at a ground where they've already seen off Manchester City, who are in their 4th successive season in the Premiership. Aston Villa, who've been there throughout its existence. And now Arsenal, whose continuous presence at the top level of English football extends back some 86 years.
Arsenal, who had just murdered Reading 3-0 on their own ground, hammered everyone before them. They played one or two youngsters, but I mean, the team they played that day was virtually the team that won at the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. And I tell you what, we played magnificent.
Suggesting that the assistant might want to check on his sight. Here's McIndoe, he's got it in from the angle! Doncaster take the lead, and it's Michael McIndoe who's the hero again! Unbelievable skill, absolute quality, but the layup from Heffernan is magnificent to him. And then you thought he delayed it too much because he should have put the strike away, but did he delay it too much? Not at all. What a magnificent start. This is unbelievable. Watch this touch from Heffernan. Look at that. There you go, pal. It's in your path. Now you can deal with it. Are the defenders going to come across and get you? Not a chance. Senderos is there, but he's not there really because he takes it away from him with that right foot at the tightest of possible angles. Can he slip it in between the post and Almunia? Well, there's the answer. It goes under the arm, off the post, and into the back of the net. Look at the celebrations. Here we go. We're on our way already. Bender, Lupoli, and it's Song. Lupoli finding himself crowded out, so he has to find Owusu-Agbay here. Here's Hleb. Owusu-Agbay looks for the gap, and it's struck Thornton, and it's gone in. Heartbreak for Doncaster, who've held out from the 4th minute to the 63rd, but an unlucky deflection from Sean Thornton proves their undoing. Well, if you don't shoot, you can't score, and it doesn't matter how they're going as far as Arsenal are concerned. It is exactly what they needed. As you said, it's been hard work, it's been difficult for them. It's not been easy whatsoever, and Sean Thornton just turns his back on that strike. And once it leaves the backs of his legs, he's wondering where it's going to go. So is his goalkeeper. But what it does, it just lodges itself inside that near post with the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever. Look at the anguish on the faces of those. David Penny can't believe it. Here's McDade. Now McIndoe. It was a decent ball, Senderos, and the goalkeeper, and he makes up, and Roberts has pounced. He's only just come on, and he's got Doncaster now in pole position to get through. Well, what is Senderos doing? He still waits for his goalkeeper after he's made the interception, but Neil Roberts, as you quite rightly said, what an impact that is. That's unbelievable. McIndoe at last
It's a tight decision whether he's onside. Once he gets there, he produces the cross. Now go and deal with it. No, I'll wait for Neil Roberts to come in. Senderos, whether he thinks he's waiting for the keeper or not, doesn't deal with it. Roberts says, if you're going to dilly-dally, I'll have to pop it in the back of the net for you. And it's on cue just now to take it off his feet and put Doncaster back in front.
Well, I owe him an apology. It's Green. It's Paul Green who pounced.
After that, Illumina made 2 or 3 magnificent saves, one in particular from Paul Heffernan, which was a bombshell into the top corner. He somehow tipped it over the top, which would have made it 3-1, end of game. And then it's running down and watching my watch, 2 minute go. How can you get 2 minutes? We played 15 minutes of extra time. There was no subs in the second period of extra time, and he puts 2 minutes up. I can't believe it. Should have only been 1 or none.
120 seconds of hope left then for Arsenal, who at the moment are on the brink of exiting the Carling Cup against League One Doncaster, unless they can produce a late rally. And Gilberto's there, and he's done it! Oh, how cruel is that for Doncaster Rovers? The Arsenal captain coming up with the goods in injury time, in extra time.
Well, watch this for a midfield run. It's unbelievable run. What a run from Gilberto Silva from midfield. And Bowie does his bit as well, because if he doesn't produce the cross, then he can't get there. It comes from absolutely nowhere. Gilberto Silva, he's not even in your picture yet. Now he's on his way. He's already gambled that this ball's going to come across the box, and I'm going to be the one getting on the end of it, and it just fits nicely for him. He just holds his stride exactly at the right time to get his foot hooked round the ball, and it pops it into that near post. The goalkeeper just goes to his right-hand side because he thinks the sweep's going to go that way. It's not. It's just delivered at the near post. And Arsenal 2-2. Look at the anguish.
That's life, and I felt very demoralised. The fans were demoralised, the players were demoralised, and we lost the penalty shootout. But I can tell you this, Arsene Wenger said we were the luckiest team, and I say I will forever call Arsenal lucky after that. Although it's been nice to be compared to them in recent years, because we're known as a team that plays similar football to Arsenal. We were the Arsenal of League One last year. Hopefully we'll be the Arsenal of the Championship this year.